the beginning of Parshat Masei, the Torah lists all the places the Jewish people traveled from leaving Egypt as they make their way towards the land of Israel. We know that the Torah is not a history book. It doesn't just simply tell us facts and figures, and even more than that, anyone who's been reading the Torah knows the places where the Jews traveled. So why do we have to have this comprehensive list? The commentaries point out that the Torah doesn't simply give us a list of places where the Jews traveled, but here and there it sprinkles in things that happened in those places. In some cases it's positive, in some cases it's negative, and it gives us a little bit of a history as they traveled through the desert. The commentaries also point out that there are 42 places where the Jewish people traveled, and they say that corresponds Kabbalistically to a 42-letter name of God. What does this all mean? They explain the Jewish people were traveling on a journey. They were leaving Egypt, they were going towards Israel. They were slaves to Pharaoh, and they were becoming slaves, as it were, to God. There was a process they were going through in those 42 places. They were making their way towards the 42-letter name of God, reaching a completion where they feel connected to their God. And along the way, good things happened and bad things happened. There were steps forward and there were steps backward. But the one thing that we know is they kept moving forward. Even when they had setbacks, they didn't let that bring them down, but they kept moving forward towards the goal. And that is the message of this week's Parsha. Every single one of us in our lives, we are on a journey like that as well. From the time we're born to the time we pass away, as we try to perfect ourselves spiritually and connect ourselves to God. Along the way, wonderful things will happen, and that obviously motivates us to keep going. But along the way, tragic things can happen, sometimes catastrophes, very, very difficult times, filled with challenges. Are we going to let that bring us down and stop the journey, or do we keep moving forward? This week's Parsha tells us to be like the people of Israel in the desert and to keep moving forward. And if we do so, we will ultimately reach our goal. May we all be motivated by the story of these 42 places where the Jews traveled in this week's Parsha, and recognize that throughout life there will be those ups and downs. But the goal is to reach the promised land. The goal is to reach that completion with God at the end of our lives, and never let the difficult times bring us down. In fact, let them spring us forward and be even stronger as we reach that ultimate goal. Wishing everyone a Shabbat Shalom.